decolonizing the curriculum. And it's something that we constantly hear now in academia. It's been pushed in the UK, it's been pushed in American universities, all the way up to the most prestigious universities, this decolonizing the curriculum, decolonizing the curriculum. Now, we have been looking at this when it comes to specific incidents. If you remember, I have a dedicated video to, for example, when they were saying that ancient Greek literature, it requires a trigger warning because whatever. Then they said Anglo-Saxons didn't actually exist. Then they told us that the Vikings were Muslims and then non-binary and also not white. So all of these changes, we have looked at them at an individual level. Today, however, I want to look at the actual force at the center of this concept, of all the changes that they have been making to the curricula at the academic level. Changes, by the way, that appear to be consistent throughout several countries. So not something that it's only into one specific country, but it seems to be something that is colonizing the curriculum. Simply means it's European white people that we are studying. Therefore, decolonizing is the DEI of academia. It is what it is. So AI tells us decolonizing the curriculum is a movement aimed at challenging the dominance of Western Eurocentric perspectives in education by incorporating diverse knowledge systems, particularly from marginalized and colonized groups. So if the AI is correct, it's exactly what I said. It's literally the DI of the curriculum. Oh, we are studying this history, but this history was written by who? Herodotus, the father of history. Yeah, but they were Europeans. That's bad. So let's add the history written by someone else on the basis of their ethnic belonging, not the quality of their works. That is a monstrous way of, and in fact, extremely unprofessional way to decide what goes into a curriculum. Not to mention, it's Western-centric. We are in the West. What does it have to be? Do we expect, I don't know, whatever it is, are we going to try and de-East the Far East? Like if the Japanese, if the Chinese, they're reading their own historians, is that bad? Do we need to tell them, you need to add more Germans in there? We need a little Nordic. It's nice to have a comprehensive history within a curricula, even in elementary school, high school. I'm not against that. Learning a little bit about what happened around the world is a good way to enrich the overall general cultural level of our children. I have nothing against that. But I think it's also normal that any country will give a predominant focus onto the things that are from their perspective. Problem is, though, is that it seems like whenever you say this about, if we went to a Maori in Australia and tell them, hey, how about it? And he tells us, I really love to focus and center on the history of my people. I don't think anyone is going to tell him, no, that's violence, it's intellectual violence. Absolutely, be my guest. It is only a problem when it comes to Europeans. When it's Europeans and Americans of European descent that are like, you know what, yeah, but I want to focus on the history of my people first, on the building blocks of Western civilization, which is first and foremost ancient Rome, ancient Greece, and then Christendom in the medieval period, then that's bad. And it needs to be decolonized. Well, I hope they tell us why, because as of now, we understand the goal, but now you have to explain why. Let's see what else we are told. It seeks to dismantle hidden colonial legacy in subjects like history, literature, and STEM, promoting a more equitable, inclusive representation of knowledge. Okay, well, let's see. Oxford academics. But before we do that, massive announcement. Check this out. You're gonna love it. As many of you know, or at least I think you know, I've been writing a book, my new journey into becoming an author. I've mentioned this on a few videos and on X, but this book was indeed crowdfunded. Now, any person who has donated or will donate to the crowdfunding will receive a full audiobook, and this is crowdfunding exclusive. So, as a way to say thank you to the people that have donated and supported my dream of becoming an author, if you have a minimum of $5 donation, you will receive the entirety of the audio file of the book, recorded by me with my voice, no AI involved, as a crowdfunding exclusive reward. This applies retroactively, so for all 262 donors that I've had so far, you'll get this, and anyone who decides to donate $5 or more, thank you very much, never expected, always appreciated, then you will be guaranteed a audio file of the book by the end of the crowdfunding campaign. Important, once the crowdfunding campaign is over, this audiobook version will not be made for sale. So this is, once again, crowdfunding exclusive. It's a perk. If you're interested in the audiobook, click the link in the description, and thank you so much. Decolonizing the Curriculum, Philosophical Perspective and Introduction. I almost read Indoctrination. Let's see the abstract at least. We're not going to read the whole thing because it's massive. This special issue is focused on supporting the transformation of education called for in the Decolonizing the Curriculum movement by advancing discourse on the diverse philosophical ideas, concepts, and theories that can undergird practical efforts to decolonize curricula across education sectors, which is a word salad to say white people bad. The special issue brings together voices from a range of backgrounds who draw from a variety of theoretical positions within and beyond philosophies of education. The authors offer diverse forms of scholarly contributions, including philosophical articles, practice-focused reflections, and reflections on education in the public sphere. The reason why I think it is extremely obnoxious, also because I don't believe it for a second that this isn't anything but political. It also includes a certain level of virtual signaling. Look at me, I'm so inclusive. So there is that component too. To me, this is dangerous because in the academic sphere and in the world of science, whether it be the hard sciences or whether it be the so-called soft sciences, it doesn't even matter at this point. Within any academic curriculum, whatever we choose that should become one of the subjects that are available to the students to learn should be on the basis of merit. What do we think students need in order to prepare them for the professional world so that we can have another Einstein, so we can have the leaders, the leading minds that can bring to a better future and progress in the good sense of the term? And the moment you remove the fact that we choose subjects on the basis of their merit and importance, and instead we do it on the basis of there are too many white scientists that we use in the studies, or there are too many white historians, there are too many white this, there are too many European that, and you start replacing them on the basis of as long as it's not European, it's fine, it's the collapse of the system. It's the collapse of this. It's a mess. Now, already universities have become, I'm not going to say a waste of time, because there are subjects that are still studied properly. It's just that they've been infected. So even though it's infected, and it's become a vector of propaganda, the original body of what computer science is still there, for instance. Which is why whenever students ask me sometimes, it's like, I'm a university student, I feel like I'm being indoctrinated, I kind of want to leave. But if you're already on the fourth year, I'm like, mate, just bulldoze through it, know what the nonsense is, keep an open mind and don't let them change the way you think, just get the freaking degree. You've already invested so much money and resources. Freaking ignore them. I know you're going to roll your eyes. I understand when the professor is there standing saying, we need to abolish whiteness. I get it. Try to choose those subjects that don't involve that. Avoid, like the plague, social sciences. Study what you need. Get the degree. Get out of there. But this needs to be called out. So it's a really complex situation. Let's see what else they say. I'm going to finish this to see what else. In this introduction, we consider the relevance of educational philosophical thinking to the pressing issue of decolonizing the curriculum. How about the pressing issue of telling the truth? How about that one on the university curricula? The volume is divided into two parts, with the first covering issue of university and post-compulsory education, and the second discussion issues related to schools, of course, because it is the thing. When they push nonsense and messages onto university students, they'll play along with it because they need a degree. Some will be completely brainwashed, others won't. Particularly if they are solid, they have critical thinking skills, they won't. But when you push it into schools, the younger you go, the easier it is that they will accept whatever you say as the gospel, because they're young. And once you do that, then you raise a new generation that thinks like you. And it's not even going to question it. I think that's why they are saying, pressing issue, we first start with university, but then we're going to the schools. We discuss 3 interconnected themes that permeate both sections. One, whose knowledge and whose narratives are embodied in curricula. And this is racial. Make no mistake. They don't say it, but that's what it is. I mean, they say it later on anyways. And whose narratives are embodied. Okay, 2, who is the curriculum for? Who is the learner? What does it mean to be human? I have no idea what, this is random. You could have said at this point, why are lemons yellow? What implications does decolonizing the curriculum have for pedagogy? Yeah, I know you like that one. With these themes, we indicate some of the ways that the articles contribute to a critical extension of the meaning of education itself. And that is exactly the problem. You are taking words and you're changing the meaning of those words in order for them to suit your intent better. This is why, in our day and age, we have seen a continuous reevaluation of words. They took the word racist and they say only when it's systemic and from up to down, otherwise it doesn't count. They took words like male, female, woman, mother, they're changing all of it. They say, no, it actually doesn't mean that, it means this. And then they will continue to do this. They being the propagandists, for anyone who is like, yeah, but who is they? The propagandists, the people that will do anything because they're radicalized in order to further their agenda. Whether it be moral or not. And of course, morality can be an issue that has some gray areas sometimes, and areas where we can all agree this is immoral. And then there are some areas where we are like, I don't know, to you this is immoral, to me it's moral, depends. I get it. But up to a certain extent, how much are we willing to accept when it comes to bullshit in the academic circles that our children are going to have to go into debt of tens of thousands of dollars if you live in this area of the world, and for what? Educators are called upon to find ways to support the next generation, recognizing that students today, children, youth, and adults alike, are confronted in their daily lives with the damage caused by previous generations to people of color and other minoritized groups to cultural, languages, lands, and environment, and relationships between communities. White guilt, which is nonsense. I have zero guilt, zero white guilt, nothing. I don't have it. And neither should you. What do educators have to do? I'll tell you what educators have to do. They have to stop the class, which they do. This happened in the University of New York. There are instances that happen at university in the UK. They stop the classroom and they say, all white students stand up. And so all white people stand up, I guess, because what are you going to do? You're a student. Now apologize to all black people. And I remember an Italian student being forced to do this at University of New York. And then after class, one of the black students went to her and said, I'm sorry they made you do that. It was bullshit. I don't know what that was. But I do know what it is. We know exactly what it is. It's the last thing. Now they're talking about George Floyd, University of Oxford. You gotta be joking. Yeah, I think I do need to make that video, guys. And you know me, just like with the video, Can You Be Racist to White People? Took me 2 months, but that script is solid. Let's move to the next topic. I'm kind of done with the decolonizing thing. I've cringed too much today already.